The more light, the better, bitch. Okay, let me go ahead and get started. This is going to be your proofread for January. Sorry, what am I saying? Daily dose. It's a daily dose. I'm rushing. Anyway, let me go ahead and get started. This is the daily dose for January 25th. We are in Mercury retrograde shadow. Okay. I'm gonna have to do a reading on that because there's a lot going on during this retrograde. We got a full moon coming up, and I think we're gonna have a new moon and a full moon during the retrograde period. You know, what area is that in your chart for you? You know, it's Leo and it's Aquarius. What house is that for you? What planets do you have there? Look at that, right? You don't have to be an astrologer to know like what the house means. If you look it up, you know, and then see what the planet is that's there and see what that planet means, kind of, right? So I'm going to go ahead and cut these cards. I'm going to do a mini ascendant spread here. Abbreviated, excuse me. All right, so at the bottom of the deck, we have the Seven of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles are talking about moving forward slowly with something. It's progressing, but it's only if you pay attention to the details and you do the work that you need to do once you see what those details require of you, you know? And it almost is kind of like going into that seventh house of like relating to something, right? Relating to your finances, you know, how are you relating to your finances? Managing that, you know, being responsible for that, you know what I mean? Making use of the investments, right? That type of thing. Also being able to kind of like look at where you need to just kind of like, you know, pay your bills, right? So you're going to have to like manage that. You're going to have to pay close attention to that type of thing, not getting like lost in the details of something either, right? I feel like there's a lot of pressure to keep going with something because you might even be feeling like you want to give up with it. You know what I mean? That's for some of you all out there. Let me just go ahead and flip over these cards. At the center of the reading is the Page of Cups. So this is saying that you're going through a new emotional phase, right? You're learning something new about yourself and how you feel about something, right? You might even be feeling like kind of like dissatisfied with something, you know, because the Page of Cups is kind of like a glamorous card, but then it's just kind of like emotionally complacent because nothing is actually going to please you or change your mind about whatever this is. You know what I mean? Some of you are also very determined to get what it is that you want, right? With this Seven of Pentacles card, because I feel like it was something that happened in the past that you were trying to do over, right? And I feel like that is related to this Mercury retrograde energy, okay? Yeah. Okay, here we go. We got the Three of Swords, which is like the third house of Gemini and also very mercurial. We do know that Saturn is the hierarchical ruler of Gemini. So here we have Saturn in Libra where it's exalted, okay? So this is saying a great responsibility to acknowledge what is going on in a situation or an environment or a circumstance where you don't feel like you are being treated fairly or you don't think that, you know, it's almost like you're already mentally detached from something, you know, or it's mentally like psychologically oppressive. You feel like you can't say what you want to say, or there's just like too much to weigh out here. That's the intimidation here. You know, this relationship might be more than it's worth, right? And also, it's like, am I putting in too much effort into this relationship where it's being kind of taken for granted, right? Because the three is related to Cancer, and then it's also related to Gemini, right? Which is kind of like that detached, almost kind of like bored, distracted, kind of interrupted type energy. you know, with this relationship. Too many interruptions, that type of thing. Someone is distracted. Someone can't get over their attachment to other relationships and stuff like that to even make this one work the way that it needs to. It's almost like you just got some other stuff going on, and it's like, I don't want to be a part of it, right? And this is kind of like not wanting to be a part of this anymore, detaching from the contract, right? That type of thing, or pulling out. That's exactly what this is, pulling out from something. So I don't know how many of you this is, or this is about, but yeah, you're pulling out of something. Something's not worth it anymore for you. You're realizing that, right? Okay, or you might even just be feeling taken for granted in a relationship, right? And you're like, you know what? This is just how the feelings are, you know? Nothing that anybody can like do, or any gift that you could give me, or anything like that is going to change the fact that somebody, that's just like kind of like their way of doing things is, anyway. Okay, so the Sun position has the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is talking about an overwhelming sense of, you know, maybe pride that somebody has, because it's Saturn and Sagittarius, okay? So someone may not be wanting to do the work because they have an overwhelming sense of pride. And this is kind of like you taking on some of the responsibilities that this person should be taking on themselves, perhaps, energetically too, you know? I feel like someone doesn't want to be held accountable, right? Someone is also being like, is expected to act and behave a certain way for someone, you know, who kind of demands this. And it's almost like there's no way of getting around this type of stuff or this behavior. It's kind of annoying, and you really just kind of want to like escape, drop it, not wanting to have anything to do with it anymore. Definitely, you know, for sure. Why is it so challenging? Right, the Lover's card in the Moon position. It's like, the Lover's card is talking about habits and compromises, right? Someone has a habit of compromising for a relationship. You have a habit of compromising, right? Which is kind of like a shadowy nature. Where does it get you? You know? It brings you a little bit of worry, discontentment, right? Continuing having to put a lot into something, and it's almost kind of like not getting anywhere as far as you would want it to go. You know, you don't ever see it reaching that point. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like why this is there, because it's like super duper hard for it to get there. It's like there's too much weight here that I'm carrying. You know, trying to do and trying to be something for someone, right? Or taking on the brunt of something, short end of the stick, you know? Recent past, the moon, right? The moon is talking about detachment, right? Because it's moving fast. The moon is moving fast, and the moon is actually moving further away from the earth slowly, right? But if it weren't for the moon, okay, so if it weren't for this experience, right, recently, in the recent past, then, you know, you wouldn't have realized something. You wouldn't have gone through this, I'm getting like epitomization. Something is the epitomization of something, or it's the epitome of something, you know? But the moon is saying that you went through a deep understanding of like what it was that was hidden maybe inside of you, or maybe what was hidden within the experience that was only brought to light at a certain point in time. And it was just like, that's just the way that, you know, time evolved, and this learning of this lesson evolved, and it was very karmic and all of that. You know what I mean? And the moon is also helping you discover something inside of yourself in a very timely fashion, in a very timely way, right? So it does talk about having to go through this like Iliad, this type of like odyssey of an experience, so that you could come to this place and really kind of be comfortable in this place once you've realized this. You know what I mean? But this is just in the recent past, and the moon is talking about that that habitual nature of being attached to this thing, right? Because the moon does talk about a codependent nature. And it's like, you'll forever be kind of like connected to something, or forever be like reminded of something, or forever be emotionally influenced by something, or forever be changed by something, right? And the full moon, like I said, is happening during this Mercury retrograde, you know what I mean? And think about all of the things that have accumulated now, because this 10 reduces to a 1, which is which is related to Mercury as in the magician, but it's also related to the first house as in Aries, right? So the will to carry on, right? After all of this hardship, after all of this adversity, you know, this oppressive experience, right? And it's a myriad of things, okay? So let's see what we got here in the future. Okay, yeah, detachment, rest and recovery from that, you know, putting the effort into your psychological stability, mental stability, you know, you are getting the space and the time that you need, right? Because the relationships can be very overwhelming, and sometimes you take on the energy of people, and sometimes you have to, you know, this energy of Jupiter being in Libra, right? Libra to me, and what I've heard and what I've just been thinking about and meditating on, is Libra is kind of like art. And art shows us what is possible, the beauty that is possible in the world. You know what I mean? And it gives us the will to carry on. It gives us the energy to carry on. And it gives us the focus to look towards something that is better, brighter, you know what I mean? And just like more hopeful and optimistic. So this is why you need this space and this time for yourself. And I feel like you have to like rest your mind, you know what I mean? Think about yourself and think for yourself and what it is that you need, right? And what it is required of you to give to yourself, because you have a responsibility to yourself first. And that is what this is talking about, because that Jupiter energy does want to give, and it wants to be, you know, overly expansive, right? And then Libra is talking about connecting and relating to people. And then it's in this 4 is talking about like the dark side of the relationships, perhaps, or the hidden meanings, you know, in the relationships too. And it does have to do with a bit of what is it? It's how you influence your relationships and how your relationships influence you, right? And how they change you, right? I've already said that, but this 4 of Swords is related to the King of Swords as well, which is like needing to just kind of like take a time out, basically. You know? It's the winds of change. What's at the top? Yes! The winds of change. Okay, so this is Mercury in Sagittarius. This is Mercury being in its 7th house, right? So it's saying like change is constant because this is an 8. The 8th house is fixed. It's very powerful, right? And it's also related to the Strength card, and it's related to the Star card. Okay? Just because it's asking us to take an opportunity, okay, to change, right? See where change is possible and where change can take us, okay? You know, I'm getting omen, I'm getting momentous occasion. This is also not restricting your transformation, you know? Not going with the flow, not using too much force, not getting in the way, and not feeling like anything, you know, can stop you. Don't let your emotions get in the way either, right? Because that can kind of like really affect how you see yourself and what you can do, your potential. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that because we're almost done here. That is your daily dose for the day of January 25th. Like, share, subscribe, comment on the video, follow me on Instagram, Providence Tarot, NYC Kendrick. Bye.